Yo, what's up guys, it's Ryan, and today I'm going to be doing a quick walkthrough of my track Imperfect, and just showing you how I made things sound the way they did. So, anyways, let's jump right into it. So the first thing I've got is this dust and dirt. Which I don't even know if you can hear, but it's making noise. It's just for like super subtle background, sort of static and noise. I have this in a lot of my tracks for that vintage feel, and I have this sort of EQ just to like sculpt it out. Then I've got this sample that is kind of the main sample of the entire track. If I turn everything off, and it's actually clipping a little bit. But then with everything back on, then so I've got, or rather, I have this filter for the intro. And then it goes, because this is mainly just cutting out the low end. And then it has this filter, or this EQ, which is just kind of like a mess, truly and honestly. The bass was a nightmare to kind of get under control. There was a lot of it, so I had to find like the right balance. And then there's the drums, and there's really not a whole ton to this. So this kick is from a pack called Boom Bap Breaks from Sonic Mechanics, and it sounds like fantastic on its own. So I just did a little bit of EQing to take out some of the high end. This hi-hat, the sample is kind of like a double hit, so I compressed that a little bit with the glue compressor, and then did some EQing to kind of tame the high end, because without it I wanted it a little more like lo-fi and subdued. Then there's the snare, and all of these are from the same Boom Bap Breaks pack, and then I just had a little bit EQ on that. Then there's this sample over here, which was from the Abstract Hip Hop sample pack. I just had that as like a filler. There's a drum bus on it for transient control, some fab filter EQing. Then the next thing that comes in are the guitars. So these guitars have a bit of a signal boost at the front, and then some pedal distortion. I recorded them pretty dry, and then I decided I kind of wanted it to have a little bit of grit, so then I had to throw this on. The entire guitar's bus has echo on it for a little bit of delay, like that, just a tiny bit. An EQ like this, and there's really no reason behind it except for just taste, really. And that's some side chaining compression to the kick and snare. And as you can see, that is super light. So those go on for a minute, and then this right here is just that same sample put down an octave, and then I grabbed one part of it and repeated it like that. Then these two guitars come in. So this high one right here, or rather I'll do the other one first. This one has a little bit of drive from pedal, and then a little bit of EQ. Then I've got a drum bus on it to take down some of the transients. And without it, it sounds like this. Just made it a little more subdued and background, which is really what I wanted. Then we get to this part. I had a compressor turn on that was basically a limiter. To keep the levels under control. And how I'm getting that glitch effect is with Shaperbox, and I'm just using this sort of, and I have one of those on each, and this is just an octave lower. And then I just took this one part of the sample and went from an octave down, or actually just regular, to 7 semitones down, and that just worked really well. And I did the same thing with these, except I went 2 octaves down, or rather 1 octave down, but that makes that second group 2 octaves down. Just kind of all come back in. A reverse snare. I should mention that almost everything is getting sent to the reverb channel. This is just Studio Alpha preset with an EQ taking out the low end. Just loses a little bit of space. And then there's this other return track, the drums comp, which obviously just the drums are getting sent to. So what the drums comp channel is a parallel compression channel, and it's just a compressor that's kind of slamming the signal to add a little bit of body to the drums. of just mixed it in with the slider right there. And it just made it sound better. It's kind of like layering a sound with itself, which is super interesting. And there's that part right there is the result of the shaper box on this part. And then it did this really cool thing on the release. So I recorded that and then just put it there just so no amount of moving around would affect it at all. Then that's it except for the master chain. So I've got a fab filter. That is taking down some of the low end, because without it I wanted this to have a more old school, like vinyl vintage sound. So, and vinyls don't typically have a whole ton of low end, so I took out a little bit of it, and then the stereo image, I took out all of it, so there's no side sub information. Yeah, and then there's Ozone 8, which is doing a good bit without it. It just brings it up to speed. I'm running it through vintage tape emulation at the lowest speed, just to make it feel vinyl. We got an equalizer, which is taking care of some of the low end again. There's an EQ, a dynamic EQ, so every time this area hits a certain threshold, it ducks a little bit, which just helps like keep things under control. There's an imager, which I'm just using it to make the low end a little bit more mono and the higher end's a little more spread out. And then a maximizer, which is what's giving it like the actual volume. Like that. And then there's tonal balance control, which was kind of helping me make sure the bands, or like the spectrum of the track, were kind of in line with what I wanted. So yeah, that's the track. It's pretty simple, or really simple actually. If you have any questions about anything, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Thanks for watching.